Have a great show. Let's sparkle. That was nice. Yeah.
Turn that off.
I found myself just wanting to chill out and get calm and listen. It's been a busy day for me. It's probably been for you also, Whimsy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I needed that. Just like the other day, you played that wonderful uplifting music because I needed to wake up. Today, I need to chill out.
I think sometimes we forget how beautiful Alaska is. We forget how
Yeah.
beautiful America is. We forget who the first persons are, that it's not our land to give away or negotiate its natural resources.
Exactly. Have you ever been to Alaska?
I
in all of
have,
your
and I
travels?
absolutely loved it. I took a cruise. I was a horrible tourist.
Why?
Because, well, too many tourists in certain areas, but I thought it was very, very beautiful. I got to see the rehabilitation that they're doing for the bald eagles.
Uh-huh.
And I chose that piece because of just how ugly and grotesque sometimes this government can be. I mean, now they're talking about, Trump is talking about negotiating mineral rights in Alaska. I mean, as if I'm so repulsed and disgusted with our country right now.
It amounts to a rape of the land.
In a way, yeah.
It's disgusting. I know this will be later in the show, but I have a message from Elizabeth Taylor that is along those lines, along the cruelty that's taking place. But that's for later in the show. But it's interesting that you brought that up.
I wonder if Michael Jackson would have come through too, since I know they were very close and he was a controversial figure when he was alive. And I know you can't really choose who wants to speak to you.
I've never tried. I could make an attempt at it. It's just like you had said to me last week, why don't you try Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
Yes.
And I've never tried to consciously channel her before. And, this is the sort of thing you can't force. It's like trying to squeeze the toothpaste out of the tube too fast.
No, I get it.
It has to flow naturally. You have to be in the right place. Well, this was Saturday night, and I was with my journal, and I thought, okay, I'm going to try to get a message from RGB, and I was trying to reach into her, and the energy that I was receiving, very, very serious, very no nonsense. I got the feeling like she's just as busy on the other side as she ever was here on the Supreme Court. Because with these souls, their personalities are so intact when they go to the other side. She's very driven. She's always working, very, very serious. And she kind of admonished me a bit. She said, I'm not talking to you. until I'm convinced you're really listening to me. I was like, whoa. It took me back. Usually the souls don't talk to me that way. But she was like a stern school teacher, very much a lawyer. I'm not talking to you until I'm convinced you're really listening to me. Because I was not really on a fully grounded, centered place. And then I said, well, I just want to get a public message, for all of our viewers here. And because she's so serious and so careful about not wasting her time, she wanted to know, well, how many viewers you have? And I said, well, we have a few thousand. And she said, okay, I will give it consideration. And that was the end of it. And then she left. But it was like, don't bother me. Don't waste my time unless you've got something of substance and you're going to really listen to what I have to say. And she was even concerned like how many people will hear this if she grants me time. I've never had anything.
Well, we actually have over 90,000 subscribers.
Well, I did kind of tell her that. So I think she's going to consider it. I don't know if she will come to me, but I went to one of my old standbys today, Elizabeth Taylor, and we'll do that later in the show when the time
absolutely
is right. Yeah.
We will we want to always do the empath prayer before we bring in the big guns, as they say. Well, gosh, Chuck, have you gotten a chance to look at our new book of the month? Do you want me to send you a copy?
Please, I don't have a copy yet. Okay. You just announced it the other day, and I'm looking forward to it.
I can send it, or you can pick it up and then just bill the company, and either way is fine.
Okay.
But maybe next time around, A Tale of Love, Karma, and Reincarnation, written by Silva Sullivan, is our chosen book of the month. Maybe next time around. And what I love about this book is I love the adventure of traveling into different lifetimes. Like, she has one soul. That's another thing I want to ask you maybe later on in the show is, what about if they've been reincarnated again? Like, the souls you've been speaking to have not reincarnated.
No, they haven't. Obviously, because they're still coming through to me. I think if they had reincarnated, they wouldn't. But many of the people I talk to have not been, shall we say, dead, literally dead for maybe a few decades. And sometimes souls take centuries before they reincarnate.
I know so many starlets that think I was Marilyn Monroe. And I think, well, everybody wants to believe that they were somebody famous. Like, how many Cleopatras have we met? How many?
Yes, I know.
And it's just not how.
That's why you have to be really careful when you're doing this, that your imagination does not seep into it, especially when you're channeling someone who was famous. But on the other side, they're all equal. They're equal with us. They're not necessarily celebrities on the other side anymore. But I think they gravitate to me because I just have such a love for old Hollywood. These entertainers, I've spent time reading their biographies, understanding them. So several of them have come to me. And
I'm always surprised by the people who show up in my dreams, because I don't necessarily have a connection with them. Like, I've been in astral dreams, I've been visited by Queen Elizabeth about 4 times. Well, I didn't.
You've told me.
She allowed me to be in her presence. I'm always brought in as a servant. I have to go through I now know the layout of her apartments in Buckingham Palace.
Yes, I remember that.
I've been there 4 times. And
remember the dirty dishes in the sink?
The dirty dishes in the sink. Yeah, her kitchen is to the left when you walk in, and then there's another closing door, and then that's the back of her private chambers. But she actually has a public area, even though it's small, where the kitchen is, where her assistant, I know she has male assistants, but the assistant that I spoke to was a woman with long brown hair that looked to be about a size 12, and she was very punctual, and this is how you have to do things. And then I was able to find her because she was the woman that helped train Meghan Markle, and Queen Elizabeth had sent her to help with finishing and touching up Meghan Markle. And so I was like, oh, that's her, because people kept saying, no, it couldn't have been a woman because her assistants are male. Well, the person who met me and was helping me before I met the Queen was a woman with long brown hair. And then I was able to see her in this world when I was reading about Meghan's training. But dirty dishes and helping her. And sometimes you warp and become the person that's allowing you to see. So I kind of warped into that woman. I used to know her name, the assistant that works for the royal family,
Yeah.
and what it was like to hear her stories, assist her, be a trusted confidant, and go up the back stairs. I was the person who always just thought, well, I'm going to go through the front stairs. So even in the astral plane, both before she passed, I had 2 or 3 dreams, and then after. But I was always surprised when I had contact with her because I never really felt any particular attachment to her in this lifetime. I was really a fan of Princess Diana, who never talks to me.
Well, I wonder if Queen Elizabeth came to you because you do have that objectivity about you. You know, that you didn't have an attachment to her. I know for myself, I always feel, because I've dealt, you too, we both have dealt with literally hundreds of celebrities, you know, here in Los Angeles. So I am not someone who is starstruck or, you know, or in awe necessarily these
Not
people.
really, not anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So I think a lot of these celebrities come to me because they know that. They know they can relate to me. I'm not going to be starstruck. And I've also had several come to me say, we know that you don't judge us. You will just listen to us objectively as we are. So that's what I hear.
I like that.
I like that too. It's very flattering. I just wish Ruth Bader Ginsburg had felt a little more, but I just felt she's just very tough, very businesslike, very, very much about her work, even on the other side.
What do you think she's doing on the other side?
I don't
Trying
know.
to keep the boat from sinking? Because I'm telling you, SCOTUS is going down.
Well, I don't want to even speculate because I didn't get a chance to really hear that from her. Maybe if she would ever talk to me, she would go into specifics, but I just got the vibe like, don't waste my time. If I'm going to talk to you, you better listen to me. I want to make sure this is a big enough audience. Like, is this worthy of my time? That kind of thing. It's almost like the way she would have been here, still alive. She's still that way in the spirit world. But a very good, dedicated soul, don't get me wrong, but just very, very like laser focused on her work, very much about her work. That's what I was getting from her.
Well, the work is tikkun olam in the Kabbalistic or the Jewish idea is the fixing of this world. And the only reason to incarnate here is to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Yes, we're learning about this dimension and we're constructing this physical world, and that's cool. But we're also co-creators that are trying to make the world a better place. So, yeah.
Well, I do know there's a lot that goes on in the spirit world on the other side. We have so many guides working on our behalves, collectively and individually. It's quite fascinating to tap into it. And it's ability that every single one of you out there has. This isn't something exclusive.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's go ahead. We'll turn the camera around. Chuck, who's with us today?
Well, let's turn our camera around here.
Hi, everybody.
Well, we always have our wonderful Joel Tilson here.
Hi, Joel.
We have some. I embarrassed myself on Tuesday. I mispronounced names. So I hope I don't do it again. But Sabrina Fell, Raymond D. Pasquale. I think I said your name right because I knew a Raymond D. Pasquale when I was in college at Virginia Commonwealth University. We have J. May D72. We have, I believe this is Jorge Grow. I hope I said that right. Forgive me if I didn't. Hermitage Dam RD. Intuitive Kathy is here. Lisa 180 is here. Those are the names that I see. Oh, wait, let me go back a little further here. We have Barbara and we have Donna Roberts here. And Rockin' Pony Lady. I love your name. Mary Zool. Wendy Burt, who made your fabulous hat.
Great hat.
Yes, it is. We've gotten a lot of mileage out of that hat. Colleen Rager is here. Kathleen Davis. Miss Annie 8680.
Wow.
These are great
Well,
names. Yeah.
well,
We're happy to have you here.
We'll keep saying hi to
And I hope I
everybody.
didn't mangle your names. I
And we want to, of
apologize.
course, give gratitude to all of our latest new members. We have a ton of new members.
We do?
And we do. And of
You
course,
better start singing your little siren song, honey.
I've been singing it every time one shows up live. And yeah, I try to post everybody's name. I'm trying to get into the tradition of posting the names of all the members on Sundays so that we can give praise and gratitude to the people that help keep us on the air, Chuck. Help us pay for the kitty vittles.
Yes. Yes. Miss Sasha, I'm sure. I don't know where she is, but
yes, to pay for the kitty vittles and the pet insurance and all that other stuff that we get.
My God, my pet insurance. My pet insurance for my cats up to $56 a month now.
I know it's gotten ridiculous,
but I'm afraid not to have it.
Well, they're worth it. I mean,
they're worth it. But my last cat in his lifetime, I think I spent almost $7,000 in vet bills. So when I got Sasha,
what was his name? Charlie.
Charlie.
Oh my God, I can't believe I remembered that.
Yes, Charlie. Yeah.
Wow.
He had my mother's birthday and my name, real name, Charles.
Yeah.
And so I knew that was like an omen. He was meant for me. And I was debating about getting him. And at the time, you remember I was a good friend of Evelyn Keyes, the actress from the 1940s.
Yeah, Evelyn.
Well, she had pets all of her lifetime, and she loved Siamese cats. And she begged me. She said, you must get this cat. It's meant for you. And I loved him very much. But he had health problems, about $7,000 in vet bills total. And when I got Sasha, when she was about 10 weeks old, I said, I'm getting pet insurance this time.
Does she drink enough water, do you find? Because I put ice cubes in my water, and that's why my cat drinks so much water, because she loves the ice cubes.
I've never done that, but I always see her drinking her water, so she seems to be getting
fresh water. I make sure it's flowing. She likes the flowing water, and keep it clean, and put ice cubes in because she likes to lick the ice.
Yeah,
that really protects their kidneys, so they live
really
longer.
Well, I remember when I used to cat sit for Mila. Remember, you'd have me leave glasses of water out on the floor for her. She had to have drinking glasses, but those fountains with the flowing water. I bought one of those for Sasha, and she refuses to use it. It was just wasted money. Yeah, she just wants to drink out of a bowl. I've tried.
What if you put ice cubes in it on the bottom?
Well, I'll give it a try.
Do you have an ice cube maker? Do you have an ice cube maker?
Well, I have ice cube trays. I guess that comes as close to it.
You're old school. You're old school.
Oh, yeah. Old school. Hold the trays of water and try not to spill them when you put them in the freezer. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I'll give that a try. But she seems to be okay drinking water.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go ahead. We're going to do the Empath prayer. We will blitz away. And of course, we'll also do a prayer for anyone who needs to receive a healing. We would love to send out prayers to you. So go ahead and give us your name or the name of somebody that you love, and we will include them in our prayers today as we bring in the Empath prayer. And then I think after that, Chuck has a message from Spirit. We'll be talking to Elizabeth Taylor today.
When the time is right.
Yeah.
If I seem distracted, it's because I'm looking over at the comments while you're talking.
That's okay. That's your job.
My focus goes all over the place.
You wear many hats, Chuck. You wear many hats. Okay. So without further ado, everybody make sure you get your names in there, the names of those you love, so we can include you in our prayers. Let's go ahead and bring in the Empath prayer. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen.
Amen.
And for those people who are requesting a healing today, we come together as a collective and we pray. We pray that you and those you love receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and in spirit. And together again we say,
Amen.
Amen,
Amen.
Amen, Amen.
Amen.
May all souls be healed.
May
May
all
all
souls be
souls be healed.
good
Well,
energy in that.
Chuck.
Yes.
So
Yes.
talk to me about Elizabeth Taylor. Now,
Well,
did you
Elizabeth,
ever have the opportunity to meet Elizabeth Taylor when she was alive?
I came very close to it. Did I ever tell you the story?
I don't believe you have.
Well,
No.
I came very close. I used to know one of her personal assistants,
Mhm.
and I was talking with him about how, I was from the state of Virginia, and Elizabeth Taylor used to live in Virginia. Once upon a time, she was married to Senator John Warner, and she got on a campaign bus and actually went from small town to small town campaigning. She came to my small hometown. It was probably the biggest thing that ever happened, that little itty bitty hole in the wall town in southwestern Virginia. Unfortunately, I was in Richmond at the time going to college, so I wasn't there. But my mother got to see her, and my mother was going, "Oh, her eyes, they really are violet. You should see them. They're so
Oh,
beautiful." But
wow.
she came to my hometown very briefly, and we had a local newspaper that would come out once a week. And that local newspaper, they went out and bought a larger font to print with, and in red ink, Liz Taylor comes to Narrows. That was the newspaper headline. And I told him about that. He told Elizabeth, and she thought that was the funniest thing. I mean, not funny like making fun of it. She just thought it was kind of sweet, kind of cute. And she said, "I want to meet him. I want to meet him." And it turned out, remember where we worked at Earth Bar?
Yeah,
Remember Hugo's restaurant a block
of
down?
course. Yeah.
Well, she used to go there on a regular basis. She even had her own table there. And he said he would take her to her doctors at Cedar Sinai. This was the last year or so of her life. And then sometimes she'd go to her optometrist down the street, and then they'd go to Hugo's for lunch. And he said, "I tell you what, uh, we're going to get together. I'm going to let you know when we're at Hugo's, and I'm going to call you at work, and you can come down to meet her." And in the meantime, she autographed a photo for me, which I have in a beautiful
Oh, how
frame right now.
wonderful.
And he said that she was just a very sweet, she was almost like a little girl, very silly and playful. She didn't like giving her signature out because she didn't like the way people would sell it on eBay and that type of thing. So when she was signing the photo, she even said to him, "Now, are you sure he's not going to sell this or anything?" And he said, "No, no, no. Trust me, he won't do that." And he said she was out in the car in the parking lot. Remember our parking lot? And we had those
Mhm,
big
mhm.
windows. She said, "Now, I want you to point out to me, who was it? Who was it I signed the picture for?" And he pointed her out to me and said, "Oh, yeah, yeah. Let's have him for lunch. Let him have him for lunch." So we were going to do this. This was all true, but it's true. But unfortunately, this was the last year of her life. And, she had the heart failure,
Oh.
congestive heart failure. She was slipping rapidly. And so we never got together. It was going to happen. But he even coached me. He said, "Now look, she's very European, very proper about her table manners. So, like he said, be sure you put your napkin on the correct knee, know how to use your silverware, everything. Be very, very proper with her." And he said, "Do not talk while you're eating. She hates that." And he said, "Whatever you do, do not bring up any of her personal life, like her husband's." And he said, "Don't bring up her movies." And I said, "I can't bring up her movies? I can't ask her about Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? I can't ask her about Giant." And he said, "No, no, she doesn't like that. Don't do that." I said, "Well, what do I talk about?" And he said, "Just talk about life with her."
Talk about animals. Talk about
Well,
dogs and
yeah, he said,
cats.
"Talk about life." He said, "Well, my mother's little diamond ring I wear, I had reside." He said, "Elizabeth would love to talk about that." And I said, "This little thing, these little quarter carat diamonds?" He said, "You got to understand something. Any diamond Elizabeth loves. She loves talking about diamonds." And I thought if I were going to meet her, I would take my mother's ring off and I would say, Dame Taylor. He told me to call her Dame Taylor. I would have just said, would you please hold this? I would love for her to put it on her finger so I could always say my mother's ring made it all the way to Elizabeth Taylor's fingers. And he said he thought she would have gotten a kick out of that, but I didn't get to do it. But he told me so many wonderful things about her, what a loving soul she was. He said the world will never know the extent of her philanthropy. She gave away millions and millions of dollars, but she wasn't about publicizing herself. She was about giving very quietly, very privately. And he said the only time she would actually give her name would be if it helped a cause, like her name, Elizabeth Taylor, her fame would raise more awareness or more money for a cause. But otherwise, she was private about that. So she's a very loving soul. And it was after she passed away, I started feeling her energy with me. And she uses, not surprisingly, the color purple. You know, like I told you, Lucy uses red, Marilyn uses pink. She always uses purple. And even today, when I got this message, because I asked her for permission, I said, may I please have a public message that I can read to our viewers? And it was after, you know, I felt her energy very strongly, but it was afterwards. I kind of wanted to check myself, and my eye immediately went over to an object that was purple. And I heard her say, yes, Chuck, that was me. That was me. So I do have a message from Elizabeth Taylor for all of you. And I thought it was really beautiful. When I asked her, do you have a message? She said, yes. I want to talk about empathy. There is such a serious lacking within our government in its present incarnation. This amounts to a proliferation of cruelty. It is directly tantamount to cruelty, and it breaks my heart. We as the human race have a moral duty to counter this. Your individual acts of kindness collectively work to build a collective consciousness of unstoppable energy and force. Like drops of water together, all of you make an ocean. I promise you that you all have far more power than you ever know to make a crucial difference. Please go into your love and give it away freely and often. The smallest acts of love are mighty. Countering this massive cruelty will reaffirm and renew your own life force. It will restore your own peace within. This is a great, if not the greatest, purpose there can ever be. And she finished with, it is so simple, and yet it is so bold. And then she said to me, tell your viewers, I love you. That was the message from Elizabeth. And it felt authentic to me. Really authentic. I could just feel her force. Oh, that's the energy I usually get from her. Very loving, motherly, nurturing, caring, extremely empathetic.
So I heard that she loved the South and that she loved Southern cooking and that she had to fire her chef. It was a woman who was from the South because she just sat around eating fried chicken every day and she was getting fat. Is that
That's
true?
Elizabeth. Yes. Well, if you will recall back in the 70s when she started gaining weight, that's when she was living on the farm in Central Virginia with John Warner. And I remember that Barbara Walters interviewed them in the house. And Barbara Walters said, are you worried about getting fat? And Elizabeth said, I am fat. And she laughed about it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But the food is so good. You know, I heard that back in the day, the reason people ate like that was because wives had to fatten their husbands up because they were going out to till the land and it was just them and a mule and they
were burning those calories.
Yeah, they had to do like 4,000 calories just for breakfast alone to complete a day, you know, to complete the farming. Can you imagine that much back-breaking work, mean and lean? All you had was a horse. You didn't have a John Deere tractor.
No.
And so but we got the tractor. we got the air conditioning, we got all these things, but we didn't change our diets. And so we're still eating like we need to consume 4,000 calories for breakfast. And it's just not like that anymore.
Yeah. Well, when I was living in Richmond going to college, she and John Warner kept an apartment there. So I never encountered her. I never actually met her face to face. But I had people tell me stories like how she was once in line at Arby's, Arby's roast beef, and she had her hair in curlers.
Oh my God, I used to eat that stuff.
She just said she was so down to earth and so sweet, but she was there in line with everyone else at Arby's.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Probably had her 33-carat diamond ring on.
Wow. So it looks like we have done the empath's prayer, and let's see if we're getting some feedback for you here.
Oh yeah. Well, Joyce Petrus, my good friend, said Elizabeth Taylor's message was beautiful. I thought so too. I actually was moved to tears when I wrote that today, because I could just feel her life force going through me. But there was love for all of you, the viewers. I even thought, do I include that part? I love you. I thought, was that a little corny? And she's going, say it. I love you. She wanted that message. Yeah. Oh, and Joel Tilson said Elizabeth Taylor was happy with Senator Warner. Wonder why they broke apart. Well, I remember the interview.
Politics.
Well, it was, she said that she was very happy on the farm and very happy before he was a senator. And she was even happy campaigning for him. But after he became a senator and went to Washington, she was stuck with being a senator's wife. And she said she was bored out of her mind. And that was the main thing that ended the marriage. She just needed to get out of that. But I think they remain close friends.
I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, in fact, something Elizabeth said in an interview? She was asked about her last husband, Larry Fertensky. Again, it was Barbara Walters saying, even though you're divorced, you act like you still love him. And Elizabeth said, you have to understand, once I have loved someone, I never stop loving them. I thought, what a nice thing to say. Anyway, Diva 369. I loved Elizabeth's perfume, White Diamonds. It was my signature scent for a while in the mid-90s. I'm sure Elizabeth would appreciate that if she's listening right now.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've done the empath's prayer. Let's go ahead and blitz away. Hopefully we will get the order. And I want to thank you, Chuck, for that powerful. I feel you have an amazing gift. I believe what you do is real. And I think that what's so special about what you do is that we get to that these amazing people do live on.
They do.
Their consciousness does live on. It would be great if you could get Lucille Ball to come in. I know that you two are very close.
I purposely have waited on her because I know she's the one who comes to me the easiest. So I thought I would talk to some other people first, because you told me to start doing this on the Thursday show. That Lucy will never be at a loss of words. She's like my guardian angel, my spirit guide. She's one of the longest who's been with me.
And she's tough, and she's a good director. And I'm just wondering if she could give us some freaking direction, because I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm an Israeli American, so I'm having it from all sides, man. I'm seeing my country in America and Israel just like going to shit. So anything.
Next week will be Lucy.
I think we need some Lucille Ball, man. We need.
Well, okay. But in her soul is actually very serious. If you're expecting her to be Lucy Ricardo, you're not going to get that. You're going to get a very serious, intelligent woman, but she's very practical. Very practical. She always gives me very good, solid advice.
Yeah, I think that would be
very loving. Yeah.
All right.
But I was going to say, this is the same notebook I showed you like a decade ago. Remember, we used to work together, and I told you what I was doing, and I said, well, I just write them all in this book, and I'm still using it.
Diva says, I would love to hear from Mama Cass.
Wow. I've never tried that. Maybe in the future I will put it out there. I can never promise if they're going to connect with me. Like I had mixed results with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She sort of came to me and sort of didn't. I don't know what Mama Cass would do, but that could be fascinating. I'll try. I'll work on it. Yeah. Geocosmic Valentine. I was talking to people about Lucy's physical comedy training today. She was amazing. Yes, she was. Well, Lucy was
Amazing
considered
timing.
one of the greatest physical comedians. And you know who taught her most of her material was Buster Keaton, the great silent comedian.
Yes,
And the
yes.
story was they were both at MGM Studios in the 1940s. His career was washed up. He was working as a $300 a week gag writer. 20 years earlier, he'd been the #1 star in the world. Lucy's career was going nowhere, so they just bonded. And because they didn't have anything to do, the studio didn't know what to do with them, they just started talking about comedy. And Buster Keaton saw her genius. And he said, I'm going to teach you everything I know. And he did.
Well, he was a genius. He was
Yes, he
absolutely incredible. Okay, let's go ahead and get to the blitzes. And we want to give a special shout out to Joel Tilson, our floor director, who comes here fearlessly
Fearlessly.
and commits his time. And we're so grateful. Also, shout out to all of our moderators who keep the stream nice and clean and kosher so that everybody can enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
All right, Chuck, what do we got?
Well, Joel Tilson is asking, what is Putin's motive for meeting Trump? And you've already touched upon that because I saw your show where you addressed this about how.
And then the reporters addressed it today in the White House.
Yeah, because initially last week it was a little vague. I was getting like this is going to be more for show than actual substance, and now you've managed to go deeper into it. What's really going on here? And I don't know if you want to reiterate what you had talked about earlier.
Well, I think it's very, very terrifying. But basically what's going on is that they've been using ice cutters to cut through the Bering Strait and to create
trade routes. Right?
Well, they're new trade routes. And this is the warning that we got from Putin 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And these are just some of the trade routes that would be blocked if we're doing blockades, if we're not allowing trade to get through to certain areas, if we're trying to take control, then that's costing Russia money. Mm-hmm. And so you can see this one trade route here. Let me see if I can, it goes from here over to here. These are some of the trade routes that are auspicious for Russia. The other thing is that Russia can build up its nukes and its military here, which is a stone throw away from Alaska and Canada. And so basically what we have here is him forming a lasso. And what he showed me when I did remotes of Putin 6 years ago is that what he's doing is they're tying us up. We're being tied.
Yeah. I mean, it even almost looks that way. Figuratively on the map there, just seeing the lines.
Yeah, so these deals are a way of not only getting access to this stuff, but by trapping us.
Well, I mean, isn't there one point of Alaska where there's only like a 36-mile distance across the ocean between Russia and Alaska? Or it's something very, very close.
And so if you have military bases here, then basically they can just march on Canada. They can march on Alaska.
Right. Well, it's, when Trump was trying so hard to get Greenland, was it Iceland or Greenland?
Greenland.
Okay. He was trying so hard. Didn't we figure it was for similar reasons to have access to the trade route that would go across the North Pole and over into Russia? Going over the top of the planet. So it's like this is an alternate way of still doing that.
Yeah, the lights of Moscow will never set on the world. That is what Putin said in the remote, and that he will spread the church, the true church, the white church, white like the snow of Russia, that beautiful white snow, that beautiful white race. This, in St. Petersburg is going to shine across the entire world. And we're all going to be tied up in this lasso, which goes all the way around. And then on the other side, you have the Atlantic and Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
So we're basically being tightly taken in, and then here we have again a trade route. You see over
that
here.
Is really frightening. It's so disturbing. I can only imagine what the people of Alaska are feeling right now.
Don't you think that most people are too stupid to even realize what the hell is going on? Because how many times
Yeah.
have we tried to explain it in the last 6 years? This is what's happening, and nobody's
Well,
listening,
I'm thinking of a bad
other
cliche
than the
that
people that watch this channel.
I'm thinking of a bad cliche. The chickens are coming home to roost. It's like getting a little too hard to ignore now, especially if this meeting comes to fruition like this. I don't know if they're going to be successful, but if this is what's going to happen, it's scary. Do you actually see Russians putting military bases in Alaska?
Well, what they're saying here is that the military bases would already be there, and they would be amassing troops in areas that are
Yeah.
very close to Alaska. So if he's here, if this is where his military is, and the West is just a stone's throw away, and look, he can take the island too.
Yeah.
Or he can put his troops here and occupy, right?
Yeah.
Which is basically what happened in
Yeah.
Crimea. He just started taking these areas and setting them up.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of the story of Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah when the hoodlums came to rape the angels that were staying with Lot. And he said, take my daughters instead.
Yeah.
I was studying the Torah on a mountain in Jerusalem, for 5.5 years. When other people were trying cocaine, I was, I heard about the 80s cocaine.
Your drug of choice.
No, it's true. Like when other people were doing that, I left the United States in 1983, lived in Europe for about 3.5 years. And then I sat literally on a rock studying the Torah. So I missed all of that. And this was the stuff that I was learning. I was learning about different religions and cross-cultural comparisons and stuff like that. But that's basically what he wants. Is you can see how much trade is going through too from Russia through that area. So if he were to amass troops here, we're screwed.
Oh dear.
We're in trouble. We're in trouble.
I'm also thinking of the parallels with Greenland, because didn't we also speculate it was about the resources? The oil reserves and so forth. Alaska,
which is over here, which is up in this
loaded with resources like that. And Trump has famously said, "Drill, baby, drill." He's made it clear he plans to rape and pillage the land and get all the resources possible if he can get away with that.
Right, and so this goes down all the way into the South Pacific.
Yeah.
And from the South Pacific, you're talking about the Philippine Islands, et cetera, and the whole reason, and Japan. And the whole reason that we had U.S. troops in those areas was to protect against China and Russia.
Yeah. Someone even asked about Canada, if they know about this, what they feel about it. It seems to me Canadians seem to be a little more astute about what's going on.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm wondering what they're thinking right now.
It's kind of like, how much can we? So we understand that he can't give a state away, but what he can do is he can invite people to drill. He can invite people to cross into U.S. waters to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And lift embargoes and sanctions.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because he obviously does not have the power to give a state away, but lately,
does he really need to if they've got troops amassed there and he's running stuff back and forth?
Well, it's like he basically did give the state away, if that's the case.
Exactly. If we're letting him drill in waters, it's and we're talking about granting him mineral rights, then it really is Lot's decision, right? Take my daughters or take the angels. It's an indecent proposal, right? So
highly indecent. But it's frightening. This is really disturbing. Joel is asking, will Putin insist on Ukraine giving up territory for peace? I think we've even talked about that. I think we even talked about how Trump might even push for that the Ukraine give away some of their land to appease Russia as part of a peace deal, which is disgusting. But
well, now he's saying, I have no right to give away Ukraine land, which is setting us up for this new trade routes and this new end of embargoes and allowing them to drill and allowing, and
Mhm.
basically if we don't interrupt them and we just let them go through and we don't block anything, that
Yeah.
we're basically allowing them to bring in their military and everything else within a
Mhm.
stone's throw of the United States if the embargoes don't hold, if
Mhm.
the sanctions don't hold. We just open it up and come on in. What could
Mhm.
possibly go wrong?
Yeah. What's also interesting, the way the Trump administration has been downplaying this meeting, purposely downplaying it. Like, don't get your expectations up. Oh, there's maybe a 25% chance of a peace deal. This is just a listening experience or exercise. I think they called it listening. Obviously, that's just a cover up, for what's really
Well,
going to be
it
going
worked
on.
for Hillary Clinton. She was on listening campaigns. That's what
Yeah.
she did,
Yeah,
right?
but she
That sounds
listened
pretty good.
intelligently. She
Now
actually
I'm going to be
listened,
on a listening campaign. I'm listening to the tyrant who
Yeah.
raped and pillaged hundreds of thousands of people in Ukraine.
Mhm.
Well, I think that Putin is bankrupted. So what, if we have Putin up against the wall, why are we negotiating anything? He
Yeah.
has no more money.
Yeah.
I mean, they're up in smoke. The ruble is a joke.
And we also feel that, he's rapidly losing power. He's just a hair's breadth away from being exiled in Siberia.
Well, when the honor guard is trying to assassinate you, hello. When
Mhm.
people in the honor guard are opening windows and in his palace in Siberia,
Yeah.
which by the way is not public knowledge. I did a remote on that where
Yeah.
the grandkids and the kids of his most loyal military people, they get the honor of becoming part of the honor guard to protect his palace in Siberia. And one of the assassins went through the window, which means that one of those kids was in the middle of the revolution. So he can't feel, Putin cannot feel that even his closest trustees can be trusted.
Mhm. And I told you I pick up the same thing on Trump. I've said I keep getting this
Really?
vibe. Oh, I've mentioned this on several shows. I just keep getting this vibe. It's going to be an inside job. And I don't mean an assassination. I just mean taking down Trump. It's going to be somebody he trusts, somebody in his inner circle.
You don't think it's going to be his health ultimately?
Oh, I think it's going to be his health ultimately, but I do feel there are people working on it on the inside as well. I think Trump has a lot of enemies, a lot. And right in his midst, I think there are enemies who want to bring him down. I've been feeling that. And I need to tune into that more. But something else that's interesting? I mean, Putin was charged with war crimes, right? Was he ever convicted of war crimes? In the world courts?
I know that he will be arrested and tried in The Hague.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he had actually been
There are
formally.
the UN has certain standards, like the bill, the human rights bill, which was created by Eleanor Roosevelt and adopted in the
I
1950s.
love Eleanor.
You have a right to protest. You have a right not to be a slave. There are certain rights we have as simply as human beings of the earth. And if you are going to join the UN, you have to agree with that human rights bill. So you should not be allowed to get the benefits of being a member of the UN if you can't keep to the basics. And we have a lot of dictatorships in the UN, and it's a joke that these tyrants have anything to say in the UN.
I know. That's
Clean up your own damn backyard.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I was asking you. I wasn't sure if he had been formally convicted, because it's interesting. Here, our president is a convicted felon, and here we've got Putin with all the war crimes and everything. We basically got two criminals meeting together.
Mm-hmm. What do you think that Trump will do if no deal is reached? What's your feeling on that?
Whoa. Well, I think that's one of the reasons he's
There isn't going to be a
lowered.
deal, because yesterday we looked at the cards and it said no deal.
Yeah.
The cards were, you don't need me.
Well, I think
Cards were very straightforward about that.
Probably already knows this because of the way he has been purposely downplaying this. Like, folks, don't get your hopes up. Don't expect much. It's like he already knows this. Like he's paving the way, as he is so adept at doing. and distracting, but I don't know how he's going to deal with it, because that's going to be humiliating for him potentially. Yeah.
Let's move on to another subject. What do we got here, Chuck?
Joel Tilson asks, universal health care, the only option for healthcare in America. Oh, you're asking universal healthcare, the only option for healthcare in America? Insurance companies can't stay in business with the current model of healthcare.
You want to take a look and see what the future of healthcare in the United States? I think the future is naturopathic medicine and only emergency medicine in an emergency, which would make, you've got to take responsibility for your health. I mean, I had to clean my act up because I was abusing myself. I was vaping after my divorce. I got some bad habits. I was eating McDonald's. I mean, I abused myself and I felt like crap. And now I have started to live like a naturopathic doctor. I'm on Eat to Live. I have, the salad I had today, I made pinto beans, which I made from scratch, with quinoa in a mixed green salad with chopped peppers, steamed beets, tomatoes, red onion, and then I put the highest quality olive oil from Greece, not too much, crushed garlic, and some really good quality balsamic vinaigrette from Whole Foods. And I did like 1.5 pounds of it, and I gave the other pound to a friend of mine. And that is food. That is real. Oh, and radishes. All of the brassicas are good for us in terms of cancer prevention because they contain SGS. Was one of the things that was on your final, I know, when you took it.
Yes. I'm smiling with recognition how we used to talk about all of this.
He got certified when I was the doctor that worked.
I guess it's okay to admit this. You and I would talk about all this.
You got 2 things wrong out of 100 on the final. I remember that.
Yeah, but I'm laughing.
And he was so upset that he didn't get a perfect.
Well, yes, I was. I'm a perfectionist. I can't help it.
I mean, like that was really, you scored so high. But what were you
I had a brilliant teacher. That's why the best. But I'm laughing because we would talk about all of this, and then we go out to Astro Burger and get onion rings and cheeseburger
with a chocolate milkshake.
We were such hypocrites.
And I really, and now I live like a naturopathic doctor.
Yeah.
Because my herbs are my medicine. I have my green tea, high quality polycosanols, and I'm my dinner today is I'm gonna finish the salad, and then my dessert. You know what my dessert is? I have organic cherries, those beautiful red bioflavonoids, and then you can sprinkle unsweetened chocolate on top.
Yeah.
And it's sweet. And it's like you're eating candy. You learn that what's sweet is just ripe cherries with some chocolate powder on top and a green tea. That's going to be my dessert, and I'm very satisfied.
And also, when you eat like this, for want a better word of saying it, it's like you're aerodynamic. You just feel lighter. You feel more efficient. You feel more energized.
I went jogging around the neighborhood today. I went jogging around. And
good for you.
Boy, if they checked in my bioflavonoids right now, I'd probably be at 120. I
remember we used to do the testing for people.
Yeah, we did hair, and we did hair.
We did the hair test.
We did a lot of testing. Did probably thousands, but because we did it for like 3-4 years. But I remember we had one person come in who was a vegan on a Whole Foods plant-based diet, and he was pushing 60, and he had and we had a senior come in. He had a score of 19. Remember that?
I remember that. We were like, how is he still alive?
Right. And then my friend Mark came in, and he had a score of 120.
Yeah.
And I mean, he literally he went off the radar. It's like, what the hell is this guy doing? He was eating Eat to Live by Joel Furman, and we were able to do testing. Like you get these fads where people eat raw meat, and you feel good for a couple of weeks while you burn the carbs, but then eventually your kidneys are going to take a beating.
Yeah. Well, what I love, because we were doing the testing every day, we would get people who would score low. We would give them guidelines how to change their diets. They'd come back sometimes 2-3 weeks later. get tested again, and already there was a dramatic change for the
Yeah.
better.
Yeah,
We
you
could
don't.
document it.
Yeah, I think that was really good because we were able to see the science of bioflavonoids. We could see our
Mhm.
patients aging in reverse.
Yeah.
The answer is ultimately we have to save ourselves. You are an adult. You are not a child. Put the
Mhm.
cookie dough down.
Oh,
It's like, I mean, the truth of the
I
matter is,
know. I'm
I don't
kidding.
really crave these foods anymore
Well,
because
that's the beauty of it.
I have
Yeah.
a wide net. Like when I go to dinner with my sister, which is like once every month or two, it's
Mhm.
not, I let myself have my fish and I have my fish and I have certain things. I won't have dessert.
Mhm.
I'm really controlling my sugar,
Or
which is,
sometimes I'll just have a bite of a dessert, and that's enough.
yeah, you control your sugar because Alzheimer's. And now we're seeing that domesticated dogs and cats are getting dementia by eating human food.
Yeah. There was a story on the news today about how dogs typically will take on the health characteristics of their owners. They're finding a lot of dogs now getting diabetes,
Yeah.
heart issues, arthritis, inflammation, dementia, just like their owners, and they're attributing it to the fact that dogs are in the same environment. I also think that I don't think I know dogs and cats are extremely empathetic to our energy, and I think they take on a lot of our energy.
Well, when
They
I was lying around vaping, my marriage, I'm feeling sorry for myself. My cat was getting fatter and fatter and fatter. And I'm
Mhm.
like, let's order McDonald's. It's like, come on, folks. But you can really see it in my face.
Oh, your skin looks wonderful, Whimsy. You
Oh,
look good. You look
oh,
very good.
thank you. And no pimples, nothing like that. Because the other thing, when you give up dairy, I still let myself have, like, I've also reduced my dairy by 50%.
Mhm.
So I used to have like a cup and a half of 2% milk. Well, now half of that is oat milk. So I'm slowly
Mhm.
phasing it out. So I believe in having a little bit of animal products. I
Well,
think research shows a little bit of animal products is good as they're organic, lean. Fish is the best.
mhm.
Um,
Well,
but
you always said moderation.
moderation.
That's
So
what you always taught me.
so my base 90% is plant-based, but then I have 10% where I let myself have a little bit of dairy. Once in a blue moon, I'll let myself have some Tillamook cheese, right? But
Mhm.
it's like I've gotten really, really strict. And then the other thing is I pump myself with high quality vitamins. Like
Mhm.
I do the
I take a
thorn.
lot of supplements too.
Oh, which company are you using?
Well, I use different companies. It depends on which product, but I've been a vitamin taker for many years because of being in the health industry.
Mhm.
So that's a habit that has stayed with me. But I was going to say one of the things that gives you gravitas and authority as someone who advises on this and someone as a doctor is you've been on both sides of this. You know what it is to have your hamburgers and your coffee and your sugar, and you also know the benefits of really living as a naturopathic doctor,
Well, now
eating
I'm going
properly.
half. That's the other thing, is that I'm now ready to go half calf on my coffee.
Mhm.
But only the Swiss. The Swiss, you got to go with the Swiss one where there's no
Oh,
chemicals, the Swiss extraction. But
oh,
so now I'm going to still do my Pete's, but I
I still
bought
do my
some
coffee.
high quality. I think it's Pete's decaf. One of these Swiss
We
ones.
love our coffee.
I know, but it's heating and it causes liver congestion and heat
Hmm.
and all kinds of stuff. So, and I just bought another 50 new herbs. You should see my home. It's like covered in herbs.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
But
Remember, I used to help you bottle your
oh,
herbs
I remember
and
that. So
label them and alphabeticalize them on your shelves.
right. So
Yeah.
when I'm not eating all this nutrient dense food, like finding the most avocado and the most nutrient dense
Hmm.
food, I'm taking Thorn Research and I'm taking my omegas. And then the last thing I do in this, I'm going to live forever, is I'm now grinding these organic herbs that are associated
Uh-huh.
with longevity and drinking these longevity. I'm going to live
Hmm.
forever. So I'm it's like, oh, this is why I became a naturopath. It's like it just
Hmm.
dawned on me at 62. That's what all that studying was about, so that I could be this person. And
Yeah.
grinding my Chisandra berries and
Hmm.
the organic goji berries came in today.
Yeah. Double
So
toil and
I
trouble.
feel that way sometimes. So I think that that's really the answer, is that as we
Yeah.
move towards the new green economy, which we
Mhm.
will, because the old economy is dying and the
Mhm.
new economy is taking hold, we will. The reason why the old medical model is collapsing is because people have begun to realize that we must save ourselves, and saving Gaia and saving the earth is saving ourselves. And we realize
It
that
is. It's all mirrored back and forth.
Gaia has everything you need to save yourself.
Yeah.
80% of the drugs on the market right now were discovered as isolates from plants, So what are
Yeah.
you doing, folks? Just get back to the plants, get
Yeah.
back to the garden, man, and save the garden, and all your needs will be met.
Yeah. Well, we've been getting that. That's ultimately what is going to save the world. It's ultimately how we're going to claim our
We're on
power
the
back.
right side of history.
Yeah.
Isn't it great?
Yeah. But I've been getting that from a lot of my guides. I think Elizabeth was saying it to a certain extent today around empathy. We had that message from Jacqueline Kennedy a couple of weeks ago. But it's basically, we as individuals hold the power, we hold the keys, and it's our energy together collectively that's going to save the country. It's going to save the planet. I keep hearing that over and over from the guides. It's like that's the biggest message they want to send to us from the other side right now. And I see Raymond D. Pasquale. The belief is a supernatural source of evil is not necessary. Men alone are quite capable of every wickedness. And that's from Joseph Conrad.
What do you think about that? Do you think he has a point?
Could I say that again, please? You put that back up. I just want to read it one more time to myself. I want to absorb that a little more.
The belief in, not is, the belief in a supernatural source.
In a supernatural. I'm sorry, did I say it wrong? The belief in a supernatural source. Okay. Evil is not necessary. Men alone are quite capable. Yeah. It certainly looks like it is man who is destroying this planet. The over-industrialization, all the pollution, the toxicity, but a lot of male energy around money, finances, that kind of power, and not so much an emphasis on love and empathy and peace and taking care of what we have. Tyrant Rump's downfall. I always thought it would be a young blonde Russian babe with a recording device, a honeypot he couldn't refuse. Well, I think a lot of us have probably suspected that. Still not impossible. If you have a good family doctor and have the ability to go for regular checkups, then you will live a much healthier life. And then it just ends with when you
do. I think she meant to say when you do.
When you do. Okay. Well, Whimsy, you are the doctor. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that insurance is a scam for many people, and that they save money when they just, if you have a naturopathic doctor that you're seeing once or twice a year, and you do what the naturopath says, and it's a naturopath that's it's science-based. You want to go with one that's, Joel Furman and Caldwell Esselstyn have the most data behind them. There is no data. We have no studies of significance on the carnivore diet. People feel good because, carbohydrates can affect your diabetes, etc. So when people give that up and just eat meat, for the first couple weeks or months, you will be feeling better. But eventually it takes its toll. I mean, it's insane what some people are eating. They're eating meat and salt. It's like you're going to die of a heart attack.
Oh, my God.
Jordan Peterson is committing suicide, but it's like, hey, it's his body.
I'm reminded of a number of years ago, I went back to my home state of Virginia for a class reunion, and I had to drive 5 hours from the airport to my hometown. There was literally nothing healthy to eat on the road. It was nothing but Burger King, McDonald's, Hardee's, and I thought, people are eating like this probably 2-3 times a day. How are people even surviving?
They're surviving with drugs that keep them alive,
yeah,
and insurance that they can't afford, when if they would, eat to live, you can buy a used copy for a couple of bucks and just do everything he tells you to do, and you could probably reduce 90% of your medications.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest incentive is just feeling better.
Yeah.
Feeling
Do
better.
you miss junk
Thinking
food?
better.
I know you're cleaning your diet
I
up.
am working on cleaning it up. I still allow a little bit of junk food in my diet, but a little bit. I'm certainly very good about, maybe once in a while having a couple of cookies or having a little slice of cake or something like that. But I should give it up altogether. And I know that once you give this up, you may have like a few days where it's rough, but once you give it up, as you just said,
I'm
you don't
telling you,
miss it. You don't miss it anymore.
those fresh cherries with
Mm-hmm.
unsweetened chocolate sprinkled on top.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it's just acclimating to it.
Oh, I love it. Like, I'm thinking of getting the chunks of unsweetened cacao and just you know why I found out about that? I found out about that in Israel. Like, there's health food restaurants where they will just serve these different fruits, and then they will have powdered cinnamon and powdered organic chocolate, and you just dip and eat. Dip your berries into the chocolate or the cinnamon or whatever the other flavor, the cacaos and the different, and or the vanillas, and the fruit is so sweet and it's so delicious, and it's like, wow, you don't need to go. This is much more satisfying than it's a cake.
Well, that's why I was just saying.
Isn't that ingenious?
You acclimate to a new kind of sweetness. We get so conditioned to artificial flavorings, refined sugar, that type of thing. It takes a little time for the body to adjust to the real thing. Like you said,
I had like
cherries or fresh fruit.
Thing of cherries, and I had some of that Hershey's eco-friendly, the environmentally organic one that they have, and I sprinkled it on top, like the restaurant I went to in Israel. We have a ton of vegan whole food restaurants in Tel Aviv and stuff. I sprinkled that, and then it kind of mixed because I'd washed it, so it like sinks in with the water, and I was like swirling it, and I was watching some drama on Netflix, and it was like, this is so much better than junk food. And I felt good afterwards because, the antioxidant profile for something like that is just through the roof. You don't feel like crap afterwards. And that was some green tea on the side. I had some genmacai, some organic genmacai, which is roasted with a little bit of the brown rice to mellow out the flavor. Delish. So I'm like packing on the bioflavonoids, and I'm having a very tasty, delicious dessert.
I love your passion when you talk about this. One of the things I've been trying to tell people is we have to find what our own art form is. Well, that can be many different things. This is your art, Whimsy.
Yes.
And because I hear
every time I make a tea for a patient, because I
love to just hear you talk about it.
Yeah, like that I make them from hand, and then I will do an intake, and then I will sit with the herbs, and the herbs each give off an energy. It's like when you have mullein, when somebody has a chronic cough, and I will always put mullein in the tea.
Oh, yes.
Like, it has a very different vibration than, say, rosemary, which is for a tonic for the brain, or ginger for nausea, anti-inflammatory. Like, each one has a different, I actually feel energy coming through my hands because
You're like me when
contact when I'm in my and I stopped using the weight. I have the weight, and I used to do 4 ounces. I don't do that anymore.
No, you're just doing intuitively.
I just sprinkle. It's like, not enough. Okay, too much. Like I let myself go into this state, this channeled state, and then I construct the teas. And I freaking love my life.
Well, that's
God
the
has
way.
blessed me so much.
See, that's the way I am when I'm working on a painting. I feel the vibrational energy of the colors, literally the vibrational energy. And I've watched people like yourself when you're cooking. There are people who just feel the spices. They just intuitively know what to grab for.
Yes,
but I'm also
cookbooks.
But I'm also aware of what you're talking about, how everything has its own vibrational energy. Foods have their vibrational energy. Herbs, I've always been conscious.
And also, it also means getting to know your patient. Like, when I go into a patient, this patient has too much heat, but they have adrenal fatigue, but I'm not going to give them the red ginseng because it's going to be too yang for them.
Yes.
I'm going to go with the Siberian ginseng, which is more cooling. Like, yeah, you feel it. So Raymond De Pasquale writes, if you don't take the time to be preventive for your health, or you will be forced to deal with your illness if you don't take the time to be preventive
That
for
is
your
quite
health.
true. Quite
Very,
true.
very true. So, yeah. Web Shiva, any more details on the pandemic you predicted for later this year? Will it bring down Robert Kennedy Jr.?
Wow, wouldn't that be karma if that happened?
Let's go ahead and take a look at that.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. Like, there's a new virus in China right now. Didn't you say like a week or
I
two
didn't
ago?
say that. Somebody else said that. But
Somebody
when I
else
went
said
into
that.
the energy, I thought, you know what? If there's a disaster waiting to happen, it's the fact that we've cut funding for our CDC at a time when people are traveling more than ever.
Yeah.
What are you getting?
Well, it's not good thus far. I'm trying to see if I can get anything else here, but let me focus. What is going to?
I can't believe these cards.
I don't like my cards, Whimsy. They're not that good.
Well, tell the truth.
Well, I hope you have better cards than me, but
no, I got the same cards as you.
Well, what I got there is a lot of deceit going on right now. A lot we're not being
so
told.
They're suppressing data at the CDC.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
Think so.
Okay, and this is very much about our survival, and it's going to lead to suffering and loss. That's what I get. What did you get, Whimsy? Because I don't like this.
First house, seventh house. So this is a blitz. So it's 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Yeah. Virus coming.
Oh.
Angry Wei Chi. Wei Chi is your chi that hits your back from the wind. Ay, it's freezing. You know, you go like this and it hits your back. That's the Wei Chi in Chinese medicine. I think that was on your final. Yeah. Wei Chi, heavy wind. This is a virus coming.
Yeah.
A gift from God. So you have the opposition is a gift from God. Clean your waters. Clean yourself up so that the winds of change will not carry you away. This comes up over and over again as a spiritual message to us. Not only do we need to clean our waters, but clean ourselves. Get right with God. Get right with Gaia. Make your foundation solid. Yeah. Be honest and of good character. Be the best naturopath, reader you can be. Be ethical. Clean yourself up. Your Archangel Raphael in the 9th house. Warning, warning, warning. Look at this. Look at these 2 cards.
Yeah.
So final outcome, a new beginning comes for us in springtime. If you take care of your immune system, Chuck and I, we've talked about that. What takes out a lot of people, shingles, right? Mm-hmm. It hits because your own immune system can no longer defend itself against the outside world or the internal world. If you've had chicken pox once, you're going to have it for the rest of your life. But your immune
rest of your life.
Yeah, but stress can take us down. Not having a high enough antioxidant load, not getting a proper sleep, not getting enough vitamin D, immunomodulating herbs. You know, ginger helps the immune system.
Very much so.
Turmeric helps the immune system.
Yes, wonderful anti-inflammatory also.
Yeah, so these things fight infections. Elderberry.
Oh, elderberry is incredible.
This is why I believe in my teas, because if you're like a powerhouse, then the winds will not carry you away. But those people who are living in fluffy world and they're eating garbage that is bad for Gaia, bad for the planet, the winds will carry you away. If you're building a strong foundation for your home, if you're living below your means, if you're caring for those who cannot care for themselves, it doesn't have to be expensive. Learn to cook a plate of brown rice. Learn, I made those beans from scratch, dry beans, $2 a pound or less, $1.09 a pound if you go to a discount store. Soak them overnight. They don't have a lot of pesticides because they're in a pod. So once you get beans, they're usually safe if you can only afford conventional. That with some whatever cheap vegetables or frozen vegetables are there. You need not be poor if you're choosing to eat like this. If you need extra protein, we think about boiling an egg because you're not adding oil to it. Just It can be conventional. Do the best you can. A boiled egg is fine. But you
Mhm.
want to move away from sugar, processed food. You want to be grateful for the meals. If you have a little dirt road somewhere, grow some tomatoes. I have a tomato plant outside.
I love fresh tomatoes.
Oh, I would
Yeah.
give them to you if you're here. They're coming up.
Oh,
So,
I need to be there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what I do. I live very frugally. I live very simply.
Mhm.
Even, no matter how successful I get as a doctor, I have not changed my lifestyle.
No, you
I
haven't.
live as I always did in a studio. This is what I learned from like visiting Japan. I visited Zen healers in Japan. I visited great rabbis in Israel. I received brachot, blessings from some of the greatest Kabbalists alive. They live in little shacks with books. And they eat the same a sardine for breakfast, and they're 110 years old.
Well, I used to see that
Sardines.
in my home community. It was near the Appalachian Mountains. I saw people who literally lived in shacks, dirt poor in shacks, and they were so happy. And when I moved out here to Los Angeles, and I was working in Beverly Hills for a while, and I was naive. I thought, oh, these people with their fancy cars and their mansions and their clothes, they must just be so happy. I've never seen so many miserable, neurotic people in my life. And I thought those people who were living in those shacks back east near Appalachia were much happier. That was something I learned
We
early
can
on.
just get them not to drink the moonshine and
Well,
to take care
oh,
of
you
their
can't
health.
take
But
that away.
but yeah, and the reason why is because they're down an empty road. They're caring about more and more stuff and shopping and
Mhm.
spending more and more money. But that's
Yeah,
not what brings you happiness. What brings
no, it
you
doesn't.
happiness is solid friendships of 40, 50 years with people
Yes.
you can count on, and a humble meal that you've made yourself.
Mm.
Yes, travel the world, but I tend to travel to poor countries where I can get cheap deals, like Guatemala. You know what my friend and I are doing in Guatemala? We're going
Uh-huh.
to hike in the mountains of Guatemala and meditate and
Oh,
pick wild coffee.
wow.
I mean, so I'm not going to a 5-star. I mean, I've done that. I did 16 hours. They gave me a deal. I got to experience it once in my life in Dubai. But I just I keep my life simple. And
Yeah.
when I travel, whether it's to China or somewhere else, because I live frugally and I save my money, all I do in China is I just take buses, eating holes in the wall, and I just walk the streets and I just sit with the people. That's what I did
That's
when I was in China.
that's what I love to do whenever I go to Europe. I never, almost never take public transportation. I love to just walk and walk and walk and just observe, and just feel energetically a part of the surroundings and take it in. Let's see. When I was a child, we had a salad garden, and every afternoon we would pick our leaf lettuce, radishes, cucumbers, and tomatoes. Fresh was only an hour old, then we would have our salad and then it ends there. But that's wonderful. There is nothing like fresh vegetables. My father, we had a big backyard. So my father, it was his relaxation and hobby
My
to
mother
tend his
too. Yeah, we
tend
had a
his big
garden.
garden. So in the summer we always had corn on the cob and potatoes and tomatoes and beans. And I always took that for granted as a kid. But I remember now how good it was.
Yeah, my dad said to one time he said to my mom jokingly, he said, "You'll find me in the garden with a jar of Miracle Whip," because the tomatoes had come in and he just wanted to lie on his back and just because it was just so darn good.
Oh,
Honeybee says, I'm working on transforming my yard into an edible landscape permaculture in Sacramento, and I'm loving it. Where are you two? I'm in Portland, and
I'm in Los Angeles.
I have a terrace. I have 6 feet, and I grow my stuff in grow bins. And
Ah,
I've got broccoli coming up. I've got kale and Swiss chard coming up, and I've got a huge tomato bush with maybe 50 tomatoes on it.
that's pretty good on a little terrace.
Yeah, yeah. I think I've sent pictures.
You're reminding me of, remember Green Acres?
Mhm. Oh,
You know,
yes.
yeah. Well, remember the very first show when they were still living in the city and how Oliver wanted to be a farmer, and on their terrace he had all these pots out there with this is my corn, these are my tomatoes, these are my beans, you know.
Oh, I got to turn this off. It's toxic to pick. No, I think it's fine. People do it. We probably would have
Oh,
gloves.
I've never heard that before.
No,
But
I think maybe if they spray it, but it's just something that you can do out there if you want to. It's one of the things. Is you can visit the coffee estates. They have private estates. You can go out and it's just something that Antigua has some of the best coffee in the world, and so we'll be
yeah,
visiting some and having some of the local coffees.
the
And it's
only
loaded with antioxidants, which is
yeah, the only time I've ever visited a coffee plantation was Kona,
oh
you know, in
wow, that's
Hawaii.
lovely. They have the
But
lava which feeds the plants.
yeah, but it was so beautiful to see it growing along the mountainsides.
Well, that's what I'm going to be looking at.
Oh, you're going to have to do some videos for us.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I have a patient in 9 minutes, so we're going to
In
have to
9
go.
minutes.
Yeah. Did you have
We got to
fun
go.
today,
I had a
sweetie?
lot of fun. I love being here, Whimsy. I love
You know
being here with
what?
all of you.
I never feel like we have enough time. I never
Well,
feel like we have enough time.
well, you know, you and I get together just like we always did. We were working together. And we used to get chided for talking too much. This is just like old times. We just get off on our tangents and our topics, and we have wonderful people out there to communicate with. And Joel said we always can tomatoes, beans, cucumbers, and onions.
Mhm.
My mother used to can a lot of things too. We also had apple trees in the yard, so she would make applesauce. I remember there being big pots of it on the stove. She would
Oh,
freeze
yes,
that,
yes, and
but we
apple
would
butter.
yes, and we would can the vegetables. And
And what about the sweet pickles? Remember those?
no, we
My
didn't do
mama,
those.
my
Yeah,
mama made the best sweet pickles. She used to
oh,
call them bread and butter pickles.
yeah, we never had those.
Delicious. And she would also pickle our plums, pickled plums.
Pickle your plums.
I mean, she would put the plums in, and we would just sit and eat jars of whatever she was pickling. And
Yeah,
I mean, God, what a great life. You don't
yeah.
let's go back to the damn garden, folks. We got everything we need.
I think that's where we're heading back.
Yeah. So, Chuck, how do people reach you if they want to get
Oh,
a
people can reach me. You see my name, Chuck Dransfield. It's just dransfieldchuck@gmail.com. I've been doing a lot of readings the last 2 weeks. It's my joy, it's my pleasure, it's my privilege. So please reach out to me if you're interested. I also do portraits of people where I can feel the energy. I'm doing a pet portrait
channels?
right now.
Yes. People or animals that have
Yeah.
passed over.
And also, I have my channel, Chuck's Captivating Chronicles. I do a live stream on Mondays, Chuck's Captivating Chat, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And that show, we mainly just talk about show business stories, old Hollywood. I always work in a lot of Lucille Ball. I love Lucy stuff. And anyway, that's what I'm doing.
Oh, I had to give Renee kudos. 1,000 jars this year.
Wow. And oh, look who just joined us.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
And of course, if anyone needs to see me as a doctor or naturopath or remote viewer, I'm a woman who wears many hats. You can find all that information below by booking through Booksy. Okay, we are out of here, folks. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We will see you next time.
See you next
We'll be back
time.
on
Next
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Goodbye.